This is why jealousy and monogamy and similar type of constellations are prevalent and mandatory in every kind of relationship. Dysfunctional adult relationships are oftentimes a consequence of somewhat traumatic experiences that one had during childhood, during upbringing, and choosing to stay in a relationship that compromises your own values and what you would like to have, the kind of relationship you would like to have in your life, is one particular part of that traumatic experience. If you are staying in a friendship with your ex, this video is for you. I'll be talking why it's wrong and the reasons behind why you choose to stay in that kind of a relationship, masquerading it behind something called love. I'll explain as we go deeper into the topic. Let's hit it.
There are some very strong reasons why partners breaking up generally try to remain friends. To the person being, however nicely, rejected, the promise of friendship can feel like an emotionally reassuring consolation prize. We may no longer be able to share their bed, have children with them, or end our days in their company, but at least something can be rescued from the ashes.
The reason why you want to stay in that relationship is because your ego is tightly interwoven with that person being in your life. You cannot see yourself doing okay, doing all right without that person. It's like a part of you dying, or more correctly, you are dying. You get into this vacuum, this black hole that sucks you into despair, clouding your judgment without seeing things rational. And your world, literally, in your own mind, starts to crumble down. Of course, in that moment, you are so desperate that you would do anything to repair that damage. And if staying in a relationship where your intimate desires are not welcome is somewhat of a solution, then so be it. Better have some kind of a hope than to become ruined and die alone.
Jessica Riley, you are my soulmate.
Because nobody else would want you in the future. Now, would they? Or at least that's what you keep telling yourself. Every kind of a relationship has to have some kind of a transaction. Be it intellectual, emotional, or otherwise. Through that transaction, it has to be mutual in every sense. When you are a friend with someone that you desire physically, intimately, you are giving away your attention without gaining that erotical response back. And if you think that it's love, you are mistaken. I will explain later on why it's the opposite of love. It's more damaged self-esteem where you don't see your own worth and you undervalue yourself to such point that for you to just let other people to stomp on your integrity is nothing. And you'd rather go and suffer in your loneliness than to stand up for your own values.
We will continue to be able to call them when we like, share our fears, and go to the movies together. To the person performing, however nicely, the execution, the promise of friendship is equally attractive. We may be itching to eject the partner, but we are not, for that matter, devoid of feeling. We are, as we might say in sentimental moments, extremely fond of the soon-to-be ex. We just don't want to end our time on Earth with them, let alone reject all sexual possibilities in their name.
So, you are friends with your ex, that friendship is solely platonic, yet you are carrying a torch and not meeting other people, not giving yourself a chance to get to know somebody new, because you would be cheating, and you keep rationalizing these different kind of delusional tactics so that you can maintain status quo. The nightmare in this situation is that the power balance flips totally off. Every healthy relationship has to have a reciprocity in respect. But if you're the person who have been rejected and accepted friendship, you put yourself way down in the hierarchy of your own small relationship. And the person that you are friends with, i.e. your ex, cannot respect you and will surely walk over you. Not to be mean, not to be asshole. Of course, if that person is very conscious, you won't be used and abused. But yet again, those kind of people don't have friendships with their exes. You're only hurting yourself by observing how your ex is meeting new people, mingling, and having fun, whereas you are dying inside very slowly, painfully, in the hopes of getting back together one beautiful day.
Furthermore, we're deeply attached to the idea that we're not monsters, and as we know, nice people always try to be friends with their exes. The arguments may sound wise, but from close up, they are deeply fraught, and in their own way, a catastrophe for both sides.
Nice people are nice because they don't have integrity. They lack self-esteem, first and foremost. They don't think that they deserve better. They don't think that they can get better. So their last chance, last hope is to cling very hard, very firmly to this one relationship, one person, so that if they have slightest chance to strike back when the foe is very weak, they'll do that. Which is petty, actually. Breakups happen for a reason. And I have done series on breakups, and you are welcome to check them out. At the end of the day, people don't get respect if they don't respect themselves. And believe it or not, the best way to get your ex is to walk away. And I've done videos on those topics as well.
For the rejected party, the step from lover to friend is an eternally humiliating demotion. To go from the idea of a joint lifelong future to a dinner every second Thursday is, to put it mildly, a come down. Worse, every sighting of the ex is guaranteed to reignite hope, and then further insult. One isn't acquiring a friend, more an unwitting torturer.
I would like to note that this animation is very telling. This is exactly how it would look like if a person stayed in a friendship with their ex. Used, abused, bruised, heartbroken. You have fond memories of your ex calling you, texting you, almost every day, several times a day. But now, as you have become friends, she barely returns your calls or texts you back. You're bugging her, you're taking her time, you're distracting her from living her life, going from very intense and romantic feelings to not getting even prime time of your ex. And they will only call you when they feel down or they want to have some kind of a consolation prize. They just want to relax, Netflix and chill, without any premises or intentions. If your ex is a girl, she might use you for your attention, for your time, for your warmth and company. If your ex is a guy, he will use you for sex, for some company, time filler. And at the end of the day, the only person who gets hurt is the person who got rejected. Over and over and over again.
As for the executing party, the ex is a constant reminder of guilt and ruthlessness. One can't even ever be too kind, lest one's intentions be misread, and after a few drinks, they burst into tears or attempt to make a move.
Classic. Wanna get together with your ex. Actually, that happened to me as well. Not get together with my ex, but at least want to get something. Being a teenager, taking it for granted that just because you had something intimate long before, that it would be easier to have same thing several years after the breakup. Don't you ever go back for scraps. Relationships are experiences. They are meant to be converted to wisdom and assist you in your future endeavors, not to return, come back, and try to salvage what was and what never can be.
The idea of trying to be friends constitutes a touching attempt to honor the best sides of a relationship in which two people invested heavily. Lovers can't, so the thought goes, simply vanish from each other's lives after all that. A friendship is invoked to memorialize an episode of genuine importance. But, looked at more dispassionately, friendship isn't in any real sense faithful to love.
No, because love is not about conditions. There are zero conditions to true love. And if you love someone, you should be able to let them go. Regardless if it's the person that you have loved most in your life or it's members of your family. If someone disappears from your life and you aren't capable of doing something to prevent that, you should let them go. First mentally, then physically. Love is about being able to admire a flower without yanking it off. Because when you want to take that flower home and possess, it will surely die much faster. Love is admiring at a distance. Contemporary relationships has nothing to do with love. They're all about possessions and who owns whom. This is why jealousy and monogamy and similar type of constellations are prevalent and mandatory in every kind of a relationship. If I don't own you, then I can't trust you, which is a false understanding of what trust is and is a total opposite. Love is acknowledging the experience, sucking it up, learning, and moving on with your life. Being able to let go and feel that everything will be alright, because it will. Nothing is permanent, and that's the beauty. Imagine if you had the best experience of your life on repeat mode, indefinitely, infinitely. You would throw up from that experience and feel nauseated. Things don't last forever, and that's exactly what you admire in every beauty.
Friendship with an ex does a grave disservice both to the memory of the relationship at its height and the merits of intimate friendship. It's at once a betrayal of everything a good relationship was and a slight on the ideals of friendship, which shouldn't be built out of the remnants of another, more ardent condition.
It's like exchanging one dysfunctional thing with another. If a love relationship didn't work, what makes you sure that a friendship will work with that same person? You didn't hold together because you had values that didn't go alone. And staying in a friendship just because you desire that person physically will only hurt you. It's better to rip the band-aid very fast.
1、2、3。
Oh, you fucker!
Once. Feel bad, feel worse, suffer for a short period of time, but then intellectualize, convert to wisdom, and become much more knowledgeable. Life is about experiences, and wisdom is exactly what that stands for. And wisdom will aid you to gain better experiences and alleviate as much suffering as possible in future. By groping in your own soreness time and time again, you worsen the situation and prolong the pain. Let go, my friend. Let go.
What we should replace love with isn't friendship, but that far more honest state, civil distance. That and a real assurance that the relationship, in its best and most enduring light, will always live on in the one place it can safely always do so: memory.
The ability of take in the experience without clinging onto it is a great feature, and you should try to focus on mastering it. Being able to hang out with people without a need to bound yourself to them, to try to have a good time with them in the moment being without wanting to get together again and do things together. Just enjoying the moment without clinging to it. I had this problem myself. I had a hard time of letting people go, even though I couldn't see any substantial future with us. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. I couldn't take the courage to cut the cord and walk my own way, just because deep down it was hurting my ego. I was seeing them as a part of my life and part of my being, which is a dysfunctional thought process and should be eradicated as soon as possible. Think of memories as being whipped cream. If you keep churning them long enough, it will go from cloudy state to becoming slabby as butter. If you want to know more about breakups, this is the playlist I was talking about. Are you in a friendship with your ex? For how long? Tell me in the comment section and I may give you some advice. But for now, Daddy out.